Hi everyone, welcome to our Instagram live Q&A.
Welcome.
I'm Andrew. This is Jeff as is on our Zoom, and this is Jordan Hall, Young Actor Studio alumni. Has started with us. We were trying to figure out when exactly, but we're thinking like 4 or 5 years ago is what we were guessing.
2016.
Yeah, so
that's not that long ago. When you get old, it becomes a much shorter time period. I was like, what?
Jordan has been a wonderful student at the studio and has been just doing some really, really exciting stuff. She's been a series regular on the Showtime series, The L Word, is currently starring in Poor Claire as none other than Claire, where she's been getting amazing reviews because she'd be way too embarrassed to, well, maybe you wouldn't be, but I'm going to assume you're too embarrassed to share them yourselves. She's been called Divine by the LA Times.
Divine.
Told her she'll be winning probably all kinds of theater awards because literally every single review has been ecstatic for her in the show. Jeff and I saw it and we were both completely blown away. And she's got a movie coming out in the spring where she's starring in a movie with Adam Sandler titled Hustle. So a lot going on. Poor Claire has one more week to go, which is why we wanted to do this Q&A as well. Highly recommend everyone to go see it. Jordan, are the performances this week? Is it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday? Is that correct? Or
yes.
Okay, so there's lots of shows this week. It's at the Echo Theater in Atwater Village. We'll probably post more of the details on our Instagram afterwards about it. So yeah, let's kind of get started. Jeff, did you want to add anything as well?
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely thrilled Jordan's here. She's a one of our regulars who came in for rehearsal and worked the work and stayed doing the craft and made it. She's basically what you're going through now as actors, as far as rehearsing and prepping and auditioning, she had done with us for many years. And I gotta say, it's truly amazing. And it's the best experience for me as a teacher is to watch someone grow into Jordan Hall. To watch that happen was truly remarkable, which is why I'm so happy that you're here tonight. Because honestly, as a teacher, I when I saw Poor Claire, I was thinking to myself, I taught her. This is an extraordinary talent. And how is she able? I mean, it's just, and that's just from my heart. And that's my job, is to make you surpass me anyway and surpass everything I could dream of. But I mean, she's such a gorgeous, wonderful actor. And I'm just thrilled that you're here to answer questions and to be part of the studio and help the kids that are, like myself, looking up to you now. Yeah. I'll be coming to you for coaching very soon.
So the first question I have for you, Jordan, I'm going to start with, by the way, everyone who's watching, feel free to submit questions. I believe you do that through Instagram, and then we will be sure to ask those to Jordan. So the first I have is about Poor Claire specifically. What drew you to this role? And if you could describe a little about the experience of working on this show.
It's been incredible. So this was my first play I've done professionally. So that was an initial draw. It was a challenge. It was very scary. And when I first got the script, it's a very contemporary play, but it seems like it's a period and has all these beautiful dichotomies. And it was just beautifully written by Chiara Teak, who's the playwright. So I think just the words and the people that were attached, like Andrew first introduced me to the Echo and to this project. So that alone was like, okay, if Andrew likes it, then I should like it too. And the whole process was crazy. We had 2 weeks of rehearsal because it was I was shooting Hustle, that Netflix movie, in Philadelphia, and then the day that I got back, we started table reads, and then that Friday we went into tech. So it was all very fast, but it was great.
Speaking of that, so this kind of relates to another question I have. So, you were just on a film set and then you were in this production. I was wondering if you could talk a little about the approach when you're doing, and also the TV series, right? Because that has a different rhythm than being on a film set than doing a live production. Of course, in Echo, I think you're doing normally 4 shows a week, I think was what it was, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Mondays.
Yeah.
So could you talk a little bit about the differences maybe for kind of newer actors who maybe aren't too familiar with maybe how things are a little bit different, how you approach it as an actor?
Yeah, it took me a while to figure out, and then, the different techniques and everything. I think the advice that I was given a long time ago that was really helpful was that theater is the actor's medium, film is the director's medium, TV is the writer's medium. And they all, it's not like when you're on a film set, you don't care about the writing, but it's helpful to kind of know what you're serving and what is kind of needs the most attention, I guess. So I think going from like film and TV and all that stuff, it just became so clear, especially with like having theater being the actor's medium. Like after the director and the writer leave after rehearsals, like it's all you. Like it's the actors and what you guys create together. Whereas like with film, when the actors are done, it's the director to edit the movie and stuff like that. So that was helpful, kind of navigating those.
Have you noticed the change? Have you noticed the change from when you started POOR CLARE in previews? Because Jeff and I, we saw, I think, the final preview till now. Have you noticed your performance changing, or just kind of the general kind of dynamic?
It's so different. Yeah. I wish everybody that saw it would see it now. I mean, I'm proud of what it was before, but that's the thing. And like it evolves. And I think because we had such little rehearsal time, we had so much more to discover just from the act of doing it. Which was great too, to just discover that with an audience and just have that constant growth. But it's so different. Yeah. Not like, from like the beginning of it, but it's just more comfortable, and I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it's so exciting how with every live production, I think that's what's so cool about it is how it does change. I mean, night to night, but even over the run of the show and everything like that. So you've obviously had a lot of training. You were with us for a few years. And I was wondering what aspects of training you specifically sort of applied to your sort of, to film work, or specifically to POOR CLARE. If you talk a little about, were there certain aspects of the training that you have found to be particularly helpful?
100%. Some conscious and some subconscious.
Sure.
So like, I think just I think especially from a young age, learning the training of what it means to use yourself as an instrument and your voice, and also like your vulnerability and the things that you go through this life is all a part of that. And so I think like relaxation and just anything to just make yourself tender, to be like a vessel for those emotions, was really helpful. All the vocal techniques that have helped so much, and I lean on every single day. And then subconsciously, I think the biggest takeaway from the studio during my time was just the pure community of it. I think there's something to be said about having just a group of these actors really trust one another and be in community together once a week. And so like going to POOR CLARE and just kind of trying to recreate that as much as you can makes the work so much better. You don't always get that, but that was a huge life lesson I learned from the studio.
You are so funny in POOR CLARE. I mean, it's a comedy. There's obviously some really dramatic moments in the show, but I would say that probably if I was to describe it to someone, I'd describe it like, oh, it's a comedy. Like you're going to laugh a lot during it. Have you found that you've approached this show differently than other work? I mean, I've seen you obviously do some dramatic stuff. Some of your TV work obviously has been very dramatic as well. Are there any differences when you're approaching a show like POOR CLARE versus what maybe on an episode of The L Word, or maybe some of this material we gave in the class?
Yeah, in POOR CLARE specifically, I didn't know it was a comedy until the reviews like came out.
Sure.
And they're like, come see this comedy. I was like, wait, this is a comedy? I didn't actually even know that for a while. Because I think it's to the director of Alana Dietz was so great. She just used it very universally. And so I just never put two and two together. I'm like, people are laughing, but you take it seriously. So yeah. You just don't know. So I think it was just the same.
No, I think that's wonderful. Cause that's the thing is sometimes we get asked, I mean, Jeff can attest to this too. It's like, people are like, oh, do you teach just comedy or drama? We're like, we teach acting, it's about being, connected and real to the story and to the character. Sometimes people are going to laugh at the character circumstances. Sometimes they're going to cry with you, and as the actor, you're just trying to stay true to the world that you're in, which I think is what is a real testament to your work in the show and the entire ensemble, which I think is just everyone across the board is just wonderful in it.
Yes. Yeah.
Another question I have for you, because a lot of our students and people probably tuning in are, certain early stages, maybe like they're starting to audition, things along those lines. Now that you've been doing this for a little while, and you obviously now had a series and had this film and everything, has your approach to auditioning changed from when you started to where you are now? Like, are there certain things that like, Jordan 4 years ago would not have done or not approached as that you would now?
Yeah, yes, 100%. I think especially when you're younger and because I started auditioning when I was like 13, 14. And when you're at that age, you don't even like know who you really are. And even at 18, I'm still unsure. But I would walk into an
Even at
audition.
this age, we're still,
Yeah,
they never change.
but it was because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know my worth. And so walking into an audition room, I would act as if I needed to earn it or, but as I'm getting older and realizing that like I'm enough and all that stuff, auditioning is just like 30 minutes where I get to act with casting directors or, it seems like an extension of doing something that I can already do if they give me the job or don't, because I have acting classes and stuff like that. So yeah, I think when I was just starting, it was a lot scarier, and it's scary now, but it's not, I don't know. You just feel more confident.
Yeah, so I guess more practice, right? It's just like the more you do it, it just becomes less of, the thing is when you're first starting out.
Exactly. And you don't like internalize it as much, which is great.
A couple questions have come in. One is, what are your tips for being on set for the first time? So I think, was it the L Word? Was that your first time on set? Yeah. So any advice for actors? And what you maybe were surprised as things you didn't expect that happened, and all that.
Yeah, I know going into it, I would just watch every Cate Blanchett interview and just see what like she did. And I think, it's helpful to just lean on actors that you like and figure out what they do. I think lots of water, lots of sleep. What's different from set than an acting class is just pure endurance. You're doing it for 12 hours opposed to like, and so that's something I didn't know. I don't know, it depends on the actor, but I never love to bring my phone anywhere or just, I think it depends on how the environment of your film set is, but it's pretty sacred, when you're on set. So just kind of treating it as such. And yeah, you learn along the way, but everyone's there to support you, hopefully. And just being as respectful and as self-preserving as you can.
This is another question that came in, and I'm going to try to parse that out a little bit. So the question is, do you think it's more important to get a high-paying job when are first starting, or a job that gives you good experience? I guess it's also sometimes when you're starting, it's maybe not up to the act too much.
That's true.
But I guess I mean, maybe to expand on that too, in terms of when looking at, well. Yeah, I'll just let you take that question however you want, actually.
That's actually, I mean, I was watching this interview recently with Ellen Pompeo, who's in Grey's Anatomy, and she was like, after a while, but this was because she was later in her career, but she just talked about being a businesswoman and how sometimes it's okay to take your art in a financial mindset, and it doesn't take away from your integrity. It just, is a choice. So that's a thing if you want, I don't know, you can serve more people with more money or whatever. But like you were saying before, you don't usually get to choose if you're like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get paid $5 million instead of working with Martin Scorsese. You don't get to choose that. So I don't know. It depends.
Yeah. Actually, one thing to follow up on that though, too, what I really admire, and I think this is going to serve you so well in your future as an artist, is that like, I find that sometimes actors, when they're doing a series or a movie, then they say like, okay, I'm not doing any theater. It's like, I won't do any theater. Like, and you just literally, as you said, went from filming a movie and then next day being at a table read for Poor Claire. And just sort of, how much would you say, I mean, this is probably a rhetorical question, but like the importance of sort of taking the opportunities and doing stage work. Because I think sometimes when actors get a little TV or film, they think, okay, now I'm not going to do that stuff that isn't as high paying or whatever, like how important was it doing a theater production, would you say, for you as an artist in your development?
Oh, it was paramount. I think especially growing up at the Young Actors Studio and stuff like that, and just seeing, the best actors come from theater. And all my favorite, like my top three, I view them as like gods, Cate Blanchett, Olivia Colman, and Sarah Paulson. And, they all do theater. They all balance TV, movies, film, and their career is just so impactful for me. So I want to do what they do, and they do theater. And also it's great. It's, it's acting and it's the actor's medium. So it's great.
Speaking of acting, Jordan is not only wonderful at acting, Jordan is also a fantastic writer. Part of our New Works Lab in the past and part of our 25-hour festival we did last year. And I wonder if you could talk a little about how training as an actor helped you in your writing, and also how maybe doing New Works Lab or just being in the writing in that arena maybe helped in your acting or just overall as an artist.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I I never started like writing as like I'm a writer, and I still don't. I don't know. I love doing it, but I don't do it as often. But I think they all feed one another. They're all like an artistic pursuit and just another way to discover yourself. And so I think I've just always kind of gone into it like that, without any expectations, which might be nice if you're like a writer and just not expecting much. But yeah, I don't know. I don't. It's
You remember how you first started writing? I'm trying to remember. Like, 'cause I maybe I remember your first piece actually. Like, was it something you had like written months ago and you finally decided to share? Were you terrified? I mean,
I think
it was a while ago now.
It was a while ago. I think I shared this piece called like Gershwin and Dobie, and I know
Yep. I remember.
Yeah. I think I thought I always thought like the kids at New Works were just like these cool kids, so I just wanted to do it. But that feeling is so nerve-wracking. I think I like did it during the week and then was like, okay, I might share it, and I was like so scared. But yeah, it's a cool thing. Phoebe Waller-Bridge said once that we write to live life twice. And I thought it was such a cool quote. And I feel like that is kind of, encapsulates acting and writing for me in a little bit, just to do it again.
Another question that's asked a lot by students is, I think, what do you do when you're not working as an actor to work on your craft? Because, I mean, obviously, a lot of them do the classes, but there's that feeling like, okay, like when I'm not doing this, what can I be doing? Are there certain things that you've found that have been helpful for you when you're not on set or in a production?
I think the biggest shift in my maturity as an actor was realizing that like acting isn't like an event, it's a practice, it's like a daily thing. And the more that like it's like every single day I'm choosing to experience life and all of itself and its totality, and like, so I don't know, I feel like every single day it's like I'm just telling myself to like lean into every emotion, lean into every story. And that feels like acting to me as well. It just feels like whenever I'm not on set or a part of a job, I'm just like, okay, this is my time to actually live life so I can show it to other people, to like take everything in and meditate and stuff like that, just to make sure I'm a healthy vessel and stuff like that. But I would just say whenever you're not acting, just keep that healthy boundaried sensitivity with you.
Totally. Any podcasts or videos or like books that you've read on acting that you want to recommend to everybody? Other than A Young Actor Prepares by Jeff Allen Lee, which came out November 1st, or November 5th, which you can get on Amazon now.
And at bookstores.
Barnes and Nobles, Drama Bookshop, all places.
Amazing. That's first on my list. Second to that would be Off Camera with Sam Jones, is a wonderful podcast as well. I think it's on Netflix now. He has like Sarah Paulson and all these great actors on there. I think any sort of like national theater at home, they have great productions, and that's always a fun thing to watch because we can't go to theater at the moment. And any interviews, I don't know. I think for me, is find your favorite actor and just watch every single interview that has ever been done about them, and you'll learn so much about acting if they're a good actor, of course. But yeah.
Another really interesting question just came in is, have you noticed a different environment or values system, I mean, between film and theater?
Yes. A different value system?
The question that they wrote is, have you noticed a different environment and or value system between film and theater?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. It's a great question. Yeah, I think with film opposed to theater, there's an element of money and power that you feel depending on what set you're at. And I think with like TV too, there's just if you're doing, I guess for me, I worked on like a network show and a Netflix film, and there's money involved in that, and sometimes that is a third character in the room, like you feel that a little bit. And so I don't know, I guess whenever you hear those, yeah, well, it's there. And but with like theater, it's like it feels like it feels like you're a kid again, like you're making this like play with your friends. And I feel like that's a through line through a lot of theater, because usually there's not as much money involved, or as, not as high stakes,
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I just find theater people to be a lot more, not necessarily down to earth, but a lot more lax.
Yeah. This is another question that got brought in, and I think it's a great one because, one of the issues we have in this month of December is people start saying, oh, I'm holidays, and, I have school and this and that, and I can't focus on my craft. Do you have any tips for being able, because what I really always admire too, Jordan, is that your work ethic was, exceptional, like, and committed, and just, could you talk a little bit about that, about like balancing your acting, your art, your craft with school, with family, all of these types of things. If there's anything maybe you could offer people about that.
Yeah, I think I would offer, I don't know, I had a lot of privilege with having a family, that was supportive of that, of my work. And also like halfway through when I was doing like the L Word, I took back school and I went to I went to a private school, a college preparatory school when I first started out. And so that was really demanding. And so I can so relate to like having this dream, but then also upholding like education and school and all that stuff. And kind of what got me through that was just trying to find a way for them to intertwine. So I know like a lot of times during lunch, I would also do scene study, or whenever I had off periods, just you find your way. But also like I went down to an independent studies specifically for kids in theater, in film and stuff like that, to help that. So you could do that, but that's not a choice for everybody, and that's a huge privilege. So yeah, I just finding every single moment that you can, and finding friends that also do it too. Great.
Yeah.
I think
we find a lot of times the support system isn't quite there. Like with the parents, they don't understand that it's something that requires, a lot of times it's because walking and talking, they think that's all it is, and they're just doing it for the heck of it. It's that commitment stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then cool.
And then this is a question also got brought up. Someone asked is what is your advice on memorization? Do you have any tips for memorizing? Especially because especially when you're in a TV show, it can be pretty constant. So anything that could be helpful for actors.
Yeah, I think with Poor Claire, since I had very little time to learn, that was like a new thing that I learned. There's this app, because I live alone, so I didn't have many people to do it with during my off time. But there's this app called Run. I think you just search Run Lines or something. It will just record it, and it like knows your voice, so it'll say your lines back to you. It's great.
Oh wow.
So you don't need people, and you just do it over and over. So that was a huge way. I hear a lot of people, write their lines. That's not really how my brain works, but some that work for other people. But it's like the most boring part of acting, I feel, is just saying it. You just say it and say it and say it over and over and over again. For me, it wasn't necessarily about like the intensity, but just more about the habit of it every night, every day. Just that helps. But it's not the funnest part, but it helps a lot.
And then and by the way, we'll go for just a couple more minutes because I don't want to take up too much of your time, Jordan. And thank you so much for doing this. If anyone else has any questions, please feel free to put that in the Instagram question section, whatever that is. But anything else that you'd want, like if someone like a little Jordan, like 4 years ago, like was let's say they were logging into his Instagram Q&A live, even though I don't think it existed 4 years ago, but let's just say like anything that you would want to impart just now that you've been doing this for long, you've been training now. After these 4 or 5 years, you've been on sets, you've done a full-on production starring in a world premiere show. Like anything that now having these, because you really had experiences now, and lessons. So anything that you feel would be like something you'd want to impart to someone getting into this?
Yeah, I think, especially when I was younger, I think when you're creative, you feel like you have to create more of yourself and more work. But I think as what has been the most nourishing thing that I've learned is that it's already like in you, and the work is more inward, and it feels like you're just digging deeper and deeper and deeper instead of creating more and more armor and layers onto yourself. So I think if when I was younger, I think that would be more helpful. It's like all I have to, I think the most a memory that I can remember from, Young Actor Studio with was I was in Jeff's class when we were doing some sort of like improvisation or something. It was like right before we did relaxation, and Jeff like saw that I was like going like this, so I was closing my eyes, and he was like, relax your eyebrows, settle, just settle. And then I remember I did, and he was like, beautiful. And then, but I think that's just I think that's like acting. You just get so tense, and you just have to say to yourself, just settle. And then, so I think that's what I would say to my 13-year-old self.
It's great. And then, sorry. There's one more question that came in. Do you think it's important to start acting younger?
No. Well, I don't know. It depends on the person.
Yeah.
I think when you're younger, it's hard because I remember getting really hard on myself. I'm like, why can't I show true love in this character? And it was because I've never really had like that, really. And you can, transpose it. Like, I love my mom deeply, so then I would take my love for my mom for this romantic thing, but it's harder. So I think when you're younger, it's like, I don't know. For me, it was just, I don't think it's impaired. I don't think it makes you a better actor what age you start at all, actually.
Yeah. We always say it's when you're really passionate about doing this craft, right, and being the characters. And I think that can be at any age. Sometimes it's a little kid who really loves being characters and telling stories, and sometimes it's someone when they're older. Actually, another question. Now a few questions are kind of coming in, so I'll just pick me a couple. This question is, do you ever still feel nervous?
Yes. Even like before this call, yeah, all the yeah, all the time. And like, I don't know, I hear like actors say all the time, but it's like, you use it, but even still, it's like, you can, like, I don't know, sometimes you don't always can use it, because that's not the point, it's that courage to just like go into it, but it doesn't feel any better. It's always like, ugh, but you feel great after. But I always get, yeah.
Jordan, thank you so much. Again, I want to just do a quick for Poor Claire. So it's this Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 8 p.m., Sunday at 4 p.m. And there's also a Monday one as well.
And then there's a Monday at 8 p.m. as well.
8 p.m. as well, which is a pay what you can, if I'm not mistaken.
Pay what you can, which is great.
On Monday, but not the other days. That's pay what Echo says to pay. Go see it. It's a show that I would say also, I mean, obviously we have a lot of younger students, but I feel it's a great show for teens to see, like, I think honestly, like, if it was like in a movie theater, it'd be like a PG-13 kind of, it's really funny. I think it's something that, both parents as well, if any parents are watching this as well, I think you would really, really, really enjoy it a great deal. Jeff, did anything else that you wanted to say?
Well, the reason I think all our students should go, what I was so enamored of in your work was it was just the moment to moment and the listening. And I tell my students, live in surprise, let this thing surprise you. Don't plan, don't, relaxation, like I said, and you're an example of that in that show. It's totally spontaneous. And I really want this, if you guys get a chance to see it, by all means rush out and see it, because you'll see that process of the true moment to moment and having it be different every time.
Yeah, for all of our students watching, especially in the teen class, go see it if you're in the LA area, or even if you're not, buy a ticket and come out to LA, because it's really, really, really good acting. And again, with Jordan as someone who's come through the studio, it's just really cool and exciting to see how all of your hard work is now being shared with so many people and so appreciated. So Jordan, thank you so much. Anything else you want to say before we any plugs you want to do for anything? Do you have like an album being released on SoundCloud or something? Oh, do you actually? Yeah, go for it. Anything
No,
that you know. Oh.
no, I don't. But just thank you guys. This is so great.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. Just so everyone knows, we for those who are students and whatnot, we will be having performances this weekend. However, that will be to closed audience. It will be very closed audience because of COVID restrictions and everything like that. And we will be continuing to have classes the rest of this month, and then we will be opening up new classes at the beginning of January. So if you just haven't seen us in a while and you popped on to watch this, we're around and we would love to catch up and welcome you back in the new year as things hopefully keep opening up more. Again, Poor Clare is at the Echo Theater Company in Atwater Village. You can go to echotheatercompany.com for more information about the show and to see Jordan's work. Jordan, again, thank you so much. And for everyone watching, thank you so much for tuning in.
Hi.